San Diego, 2010. Did you really break up with Marshall? Dylan asked, trying to hide his hopefulness. Yeah, I just couldn't take it anymore. Anytime I got upset about my dad, he got upset, I said, staring out into the starry San Diego sky. Dylan stayed silent. Marshall actually had the nerve to say to me, he coached me for 4 years. He was like a father to me. Yeah, well, Marshall, he was my fucking father. I all but yelled into the sky as I took another swig from the whiskey bottle. Dylan grabbed the bottle from my hand. Easy there. We're on a roof, remember? Whatever, I said, lying down. None of it matters anyway. It does matter, Spencer. You matter. I mean, it hasn't been that long since your dad. Do you believe in heaven? I interrupted, not wanting to hear him say the words. Honestly? Dylan responded. No, lie to me, dummy. Yes, honestly. Dylan thought long and hard. He looked over at me as if trying to gauge what his answer would do to me. He let out a deep exhale and said, no. That single word landed in my gut like a brick. I grew up going to church every Sunday. Stone family Sundays were law. Now, I didn't know what I believed. I continued, and God, fate, everything happens for a reason? I'm an atheist. I believe in science. Dylan responded and handed me the bottle of whiskey, and I took another swig. I need something stronger. I got up without another word and walked towards the fire escape. I made my way back to the party in his dorm. I was so sick of having the same night over and over and over, same people, same music, same blackout. I walked up to Kyle. Hey, do you know anyone with any drugs? Whoa there, girl. Way to be discreet. Kyle half laughed. What are you going to do? Arrest me? I batted my eyelashes. Okay, troublemaker. The guy a floor down in 201 usually has something, he said with a dash of reluctance when he noticed Dylan glaring at him from across the room. Thanks, honey. I kissed his cheek and walked out the door. I could feel Dylan's disapproving eyes on me as I left. I walked to door 201 and knocked, expecting the short stoner guy Kyle hung out with to answer. Instead, fucking Hunter answered the door. He was wearing a black long-sleeve thermal and basketball shorts. My breath caught. I tried to disguise it by pursing my lips together. God, he always looked so effortlessly good. Hunter looked surprised but delighted to see me. I hadn't spoken to him since the first day of school when he gave me my ID. He never sat next to me again in lit, which annoyed me. And this semester he was in my econ class, but I'd been sleepwalking through most classes and was only getting by with good grades because of my gifted memory. Well, hello, Miss Stone, Hunter said, leaning on his doorway. Was he this flirtatious with everyone? By the way he looked at me, I could tell he hadn't heard about my dad, which was a relief. Hello, Hunter, I said coldly, pushing the door open and entering his room. Of course he was one of the lucky ones with a single. I surveyed the room. Lots of books for a guy. And not comic books, like actual novels. The spine of one read Hell's Angels. Music drifted through the air from a spinning record player, and a Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas poster hung on the wall above his bed. I laughed under my breath. Want to let me in on the joke? He asked, amused. Well, I happened to be from Las Vegas, and I for sure thought I was the only one on campus who brought my record player to college. Alas, an old soul like me, what a pleasure. He flashed that gorgeous smile at me. Okay, focus, Spencer. Do you have any drugs? I asked abruptly. Whoa, I took you for a foreplay girl. Guess not. Shame. He walked straight toward me. I backed up, bumping into his dresser. He was so close I could almost taste him. He smelled of gin and cedar. Was he about to kiss me? He reached around me, grabbed a small wooden box from the top of the dresser I was leaning against, and walked away from me to his desk. I sat on his bed trying to regain my composure. Up or down? Hunter asked. What? I asked, confused. Are you looking for something to give you energy or something to calm you down? I thought about it. Calm, I guess. Xanax it is. He handed me a small white egg-shaped pill. How much do I owe you? I asked, clueless. I'm not a dealer. I've just been prescribed a bunch of stuff and I share my extras with my friends. Which means we're officially friends now, Stone. He winked. Who was this fucking guy? I rolled the little pill between my fingers. What will it make me feel like? I asked, trying not to sound as nervous as I was. You've never taken Xanax before? He asked curiously. I bit my lip. I've never technically taken anything before? Hold on a second. Are you telling me that Miss Sin City is a drug virgin? He rolled his desk chair closer to the bed, closing the space between us. Caught red-handed. I gestured my hands up slightly. I learned years ago that whenever I was embarrassed, I could typically flirt my way out of it. Well, this is a special occasion then. He seemed genuinely excited. I can't have your first time be alone. I'm a gentleman. I'll join you. Hunter popped a second tiny white pill out from the box and sat next to me on the bed. His effect on me was palpable. I was already nervous about doing drugs. Now I was sitting on a bed next to Hunter about to do drugs. My heart raced. He looked deep in my eyes and I felt naked. Then he knocked his pill against mine and whispered, "Cheers." "Cheers," I mirrored. We placed them in our mouths and swallowed in unison. Hunter got up to change the record, and I took advantage of the moment to adjust my boobs and my bra, trying to make my cleavage look bigger. I dressed for a cry on the roof with Dylan, not a drug trip with Hunter. "What vinyls do you have?" Hunter asked, his back toward me. "I have a lot of my parents' old records, the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, Steely Dan." He laughed. "The first two I can get behind, but Steely Dan? What's wrong with Steely Dan? Have you ever listened to them at the pool on a hot day? It's perfect." I was legitimately offended. I loved Steely Dan. "I'll have to take your word for it." He took a record from its sleeve and placed it on the player. My parents used to play Steely Dan every single time we swam for years. I actually thought they were an entire genre of music made for swimming. I laughed at my innocence. "Witchy Woman" by the Eagles danced through the room. Fuck, he had good taste. Hunter turned to me. "Your honesty is disarming, Stone." I blushed. I liked it when he called me that. No one ever had. Everyone called my brother Stone. He was the oldest. It was like he owned the word or something. But not here. Here, I was the only Stone. I liked it that way. "What happens when you're disarmed, Hunter?" I challenged, whiskey pulsing in my veins. He turned to me with a look in his eye I hadn't seen before. He felt like a storm that was headed straight for me. I bit my lip in anticipation. "If you keep biting your lip like that, you're going to find out," Hunter said, undressing me with his eyes. I held Hunter's gaze, opened my mouth, and bit down on my lip, hard. He let out a small gust of air. Two could play this game. Out of nowhere, an alarm pierced through our intimate moment, and lights flashed. It took me a moment to register what was happening. We both covered our ears and rushed outside. The fire alarm blared throughout the building, and dozens of students appeared on the balconies of their dorms. Some students were half asleep wearing pajamas. Some were half drunk, stumbling. And couples were scrambling to put their clothes on. Our annoying RA Isabel had her megaphone out in seconds. "All girls need to report to the north lawn. All males report to the lawn in the south end immediately," Isabella ordered. "Someone needs to get laid," I heard a boy yell behind me to Isabel. Hunter put his mouth extremely close to my ear. "It looks like our night has come to an end, Stone. Enjoy the rest of your trip tonight." I smiled and my stomach somersaulted. Hunter walked away, and across the balcony I saw Dylan staring at me with a smile that I couldn't place before the crowd pushed me in the opposite direction. The pill's effect began to tingle inside of me. As I walked, everything started to get softer, like someone poured water onto a painting and all the colors ran together. I felt free in a way I didn't know was possible. Free of my mind, free of the mask, free of the pain. I was going to enjoy the rest of my trip all right. I knew exactly what I would think about in bed tonight. More specifically, who